This is the Misdirected Mark Podcast, a podcast about gaming, game mastering, and entertaining you, our listeners. We are explicit, you have been warned, and I'd like to thank Mike Willard for letting us use his music on our show. Now let's pick up those mics and get on with this thing.
And welcome to the 511th episode of the Misdirected Mark Podcast. This is Event Plays number 11. Tonight we discuss memorable NPC groups in your tabletop role-playing games through our experiences in Children of the Shroud. But first, my name is Jerry.
My name is Phil.
I am Chris.
And I am Old Man Logan.
Woo! Let's do you have any announcements? If we don't have any announcements, then my announcement is please go to our Patreon and give us some money. No, I'm just kidding. Go to the Patreon because you can be part of our Slack community and you can get a bunch of extra stuff like podcasts and a variety of other things. Yeah?
And we're going to mention this a couple times, but a lot of the NPCs we're going to talk about in here came from members of the Slack room who got in and contacted Phil in a separate channel
that we don't have access to.
That the players don't have access to.
We are locked out of. I'm like, what are they plotting? Our demises in there.
I'm sure you're not locked out of it. I think I just told you don't subscribe.
Yes, that's
also, give us some money.
No. Speaking of giving us some money, who is our newest patron? We have a new patron. Do you have it up or do I have to go look it up? I could tell you. Our newest patron, Huxley. Thank you so much, Huxley. We appreciate it.
Hey, Huxley.
Welcome aboard, Huxley.
I missed the part where that was my
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. I did that off the cuff. I was hoping that you would like pick up what I was throwing down, but it's fine. That's what you get sometimes with these recordings. That's why they're fun.
Yeah.
All right. That's while we edit these things, we also just like leaving those fun bits of stuff. So let's move on to the main segment. Let's get right into it.
In our recent Children of the Shroud episode, Like a Rolling Stone, the heroes were introduced to a group of classmates. These NPCs are going to be recurring characters who also form a group of allies, foils, and possible rivals. However, they were presented in a way that made them both interesting and likable. So, tonight we're going to discuss some of the ways to make groups of NPCs that players will want to interact with, while also making them part of the world.
Now, we've tackled NPCs and recurring characters before. Go check out MMP episodes 440 and 448 to hear some of those past discussions. In those, we discuss what makes likable NPCs and the advantages of using recurring NPCs. We're going to be discussing both of those this week.
Workshop! Talking about groups of NPCs, how you make them, what do you do with them, why do you keep them around? Your players need somebody to talk to, so make some NPCs here in the workshop.
And don't suck.
Most RPGs have dozens, if not hundreds of NPCs, but sometimes you'll want to create a group of NPCs that the characters will interact with, a group that the players will want to return to again and again. Pick NPCs with personalities that complement the heroes or can act as likable foils.
So you want to pick NPCs with similar interests that will give the hero someone to talk to. This gives the players a chance to explore their own characters through role-playing. In Children of the Shroud, the character Ash and T both started talking because they both like punk music.
NPCs with useful traits that fill in gaps that the party lacks without overpowering them will give the heroes a reason to interact with them. Dee's healing powers, for example, will be used in the future. Plus, she's fun to be around.
Man, we hope these healing powers will be useful in the future if we need them. I really hope that we don't need them, and I don't see how we don't need them. We're just going to get our asses kicked by something, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually.
Anyways, NPCs who challenge the heroes in a playful but, not too mocking way will give the heroes a friendly rival. Think of Donatella. She seems to enjoy mindlessly needling Silas for some reason, but doesn't take it too far. She seems like a nice contrast to Lisa, who is definitely a very much more aggressive rival for Silas.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Also, fun personalities are just fun to interact with. If the players are having fun, they're going to go back to those NPCs again and again. These interactions with Gunny are great.
Oh
Amazing.
my God. That moment in that game where we were like, so you're going to ask her out? And Gunny's like, what are you talking about? I'm oblivious.
What now? Huh?
I'm already ready to burn down somebody just to stop them from hurting Dee. This is going to be a good thing.
Like Stoker's standard, that feels like Everson's standard. Everson every day. Like just being awkward around girls in role-playing games.
I mean, I got a series of role-playing games where that's happened.
Yeah.
That's
why
That trope is so old that I was hoping he was just going to like 180 it and just,
Everyday Everson.
There's a little bit of me in all my characters.
One word of caution, though, bullies, right? NPCs that overshadow the party's abilities and characters who are too insulting or sarcastic can drive the players away. Not really going to work if you're trying to create a group that they want to interact with. Mm-hmm. So obviously you don't want to kind of inject that kind of toxicity into your NPC pool. NPCs don't always have to be likable, but they should be characters that the players enjoy interacting with.
Like Lisa. Lisa's not necessarily likable right now, but she's fun. Whenever she shows up, we have fun interacting with her.
So there's a thing about that character. Mm-hmm. She's been burned by the fact that Silas and her have history, and Silas kind of stopped being her friend.
Yeah.
I understand that as Silas, so I can play off that. Like, I get why she's not super happy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it easier for me to play that while the audience, there's an audience listening to the thing that we're playing, doesn't necessarily know that. I mean, they know it now because I just said it, but
So I was just going through this list and thinking about the characters, because I know how we actually, I know how all those characters got created, and then I know how they got to the table. Some of it's on purpose, some of it's dumb luck.
Some of it's inspired by the gameplay.
I plan out some of the stuff. I don't plan out other stuff, and then I just go and see what works.
Sure, makes sense.
So, for instance, Ash's description was they had a punk look. So, knowing that T had a punk background, I was like, cool, I'm just going to make them, I'm going to presume they're friends and they have this musical background thing, because that's a way for T to interact with one of the NPCs in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
For D, D's healing powers, that was picked by, one of the Slack room people. And also they had written that they were incredibly bubbly.
Yeah.
In fact, if I remember correctly, I think that's an Andy Fox one. And Andy Fox based all of her characters on dogs that from her life. So
Thank you, Andy.
For that one, I didn't practice being D at the table, but I just took a stab at it when we started, and then it seemed to click. Donatella was strictly there wasn't anything about Donatella that made her antagonistic towards Silas until I asked the question at the start of the session about rumors.
Yes.
And then I just decided to take the rumor and attach it to an NPC. And I did that literally while I think we were sitting at the table before the game started.
Yeah.
Oh, and then D and Gunny, that was a case where D was super excited to see Gunny here. Kind of thing. But also that was done on purpose because Gunny's the outsider.
Yes.
And so to play against the outsider trope, which is everybody side eyes you because, you haven't been here before. Plus you have this kind of weird background, you should have manifested earlier. You should have been part of the club earlier. There's some weird shit with you. To play against all of that, D is super excited and pulls you immediately into the group. D is roughly based on the girl from Real Genius.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yes, I like that.
But again, not planned. They're just in the moment decisions as as we start playing.
Well, that comes with experience. You're good at that kind of thing.
Look, that is the thing about human beings that don't get enough credit for role-playing games and when people over-prep stuff. We're very good at pattern matching. That's a pattern matching technique. And you can train yourself to do that, but Phil is just pattern matching things to make the most sense out of the story. The other thing that I want to say is the trick with Gunny, where you went against trope, was, in my opinion, a very good storytelling move, not because you played against trope, but because Gunny's already got enough shit going on.
Yeah.
He doesn't need another problem on top of all the problems that he already has.
Yep. Exactly.
Because we're actually not supposed to be playing that kind of game.
Yeah.
One, we're not supposed to be playing that kind of game. Two, if you're a patron and you've listened to the behind the screen, I have a very specific, so I'll just tell listeners here, I have a very specific goal with this story number 2. Story number 2 is connective tissue. It bridges Gunny's mysterious background to what eventually in story 3 will be the beginning of the meta arc for the story. There needs to be a transition piece where we go from Gunny is not magical, not part of the group, doesn't participate in magical mysteries, to a point where Gunny is part of the group, participates in magical mysteries, and does this stuff. And so story 2 is that bridge.
And becomes one of the central foci of the campaign.
Yeah. And so by having D be really positive about him joining, we cut off the possibility of, oh, this is going to be antagonistic, or you're going to have to earn your way in, or whatever. D just kind of short circuits that and is like, oh, you're here. It's great. Boom. Come on. Let's go. And
yeah, that enthusiasm helps pull him along.
It also just closes off that complicated story part.
It also gives me the chance to turn to him as my character and be like, oh, so when are you going to ask her out?
Yeah.
Because me and Gunny know each other. We've known each other for a while because we're in a lot of the same classes.
Yeah. And since some of the other people in this group are also overachievers, like D, D's super excited because D knew Gunny as a smart kid, not a magical kid.
Yeah, and D's a little much for my friends. And she's magical, and most of my friends aren't.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, most of my friends aren't magical.
Yeah.
Because of my situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very much story 2 is about kind of normalizing gunny to the rest of the world so that we can move on with bigger plots.
All right, so let's move on with the topic then. I think that once you have a good group of NPCs, you can use them again and again to introduce or reintroduce ideas. We just talked about a bunch of this, and plot hooks and stories and background into your games. I mean, D is going to function that way for us. Some of these other characters will function that way, I'm sure, too, because now there's this group of people that are part of an organization that we're a part of. When they have problems, they can come ask us for help, or when we have problems, we can talk to them. Or if they have like little side stories going on that are outside of our story, it's interesting flavor for the world. That's what I think, anyway.
Mm-hmm. I think that's an important part of it because we get a chance to see the NPCs to show other parts of our characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Time for Change Part 1, Phil introduced T's family, and the quick interactions showed some little role playing. Phil used to show T's lighter side. I mean, he didn't resist kissing his mom. He didn't resist going on the date, which is against what you've seen T do so far, but also the normal family dynamic. Plus, it gave the other players a chance to jump in and play the NPCs.
It also surprised me. I think it surprised Phil, too, and maybe Bob. Like, we did not expect T to react that way. It told us something about his character that we weren't expecting.
Yeah, I mean, it also gave me a direction. If you're going to rebel against your mom, picking out dates, I'm going to pick more, right? Like, I'll push on it to get to an eventual point where you have to have a conversation / conflict with your mom about her meddling. But since you didn't choose that route, instead, we, in story 2 at the beginning, we find out how the date went, which then, takes it a different direction, which actually means that a new NPC is going to make an appearance in the game.
Yeah.
Another good use of NPCs is to instantly signal change of theme. Whenever Mrs. Cortez shows up, the scene shifts from the normal school affiliation to magical. It's normally Veil, but could also be Mage.
Makes sense.
But it's at least the magical 2. And while Mrs. Cortez often gives the heroes assignments, which is actually one of her jobs, she rarely curtails what the character is actually doing. And that is actually something that we built into the game, I think back in like session 0 and in the background, is that adults aren't meddling with this stuff. So, in today's thing, like, you probably wouldn't have just been told, like, go find out what's making all the wind howl outside the school and deal with it. In other games, it would have been like, go find out what it is and then come back and tell me because like the adults are going to go like handle it. But in this game, it's like, nah, run off and figure it out yourselves.
Go figure it out and handle it.
Yeah.
It was weird because I had to turn around and be like, I got to go talk to Miss Cortez because I don't know what to do about this. It's way above my pay grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Miss Cortez is, pretty much going to just give you some advice and send you on your way. Otherwise, it's not heroic for you guys.
I appreciated that you had Miss Cortez come with us because I know there's the instinct in a game like this to be like, well, these are your problems and this is like a kids on bike game, so go deal with it. But in reality, something like that, it's good that she came because it shows that she actually gives a shit about us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She's not like the absentee latchkey parent. She's an actual advisor, but part of your job in the 4 years of Veil training that you take is you got to be able to handle some of this stuff.
Absolutely.
But also, from a strictly meta perspective, I can't have NPCs, higher powered NPCs coming in and solving problems.
Sure. But like that's what I mean. Like,
it's
you
balance.
You did a good job of balancing the fact that like I don't dislike her now because if she would have like not came and helped us, I wouldn't have trusted her in the future. And she didn't overshadow us. It's a very sticky line to walk, but she was there and we were just talking anyway. So
I think that establishing trust with NPCs is a huge thing. That NPCs that act within their character but don't betray the characters, don't constantly interfere and meddle in stopping them from doing what they want to do makes a huge difference.
You only get one chance to betray a character with an NPC. After that, they are always on guard for it.
Especially me, unfortunately.
This is one of those situations where like I know that in 99% of situations, yes, but there are ways to do that and then rebuild that trust because we see it in storytelling all the time.
Well, sure. I mean, another game that uses a troop of NPCs that has high amount of betrayal and reusing them is Amber Diceless. The Elder Amberites are probably going to screw you over somewhere, but the game kind of traps you in that they're your aunts and uncles. It's like the scorpion and the frog, right? Like your Aunt Fiona is definitely going to screw you over when you talk to her. Are you still going to talk to her? Probably.
But if you go into that interaction thinking, it's all going to be fine. No.
Right.
You go in there thinking, how is she going to screw me? What method is she going to use to subvert my plan? Because she's gonna.
At best, you wind up like in a détente with them.
The other thing to remember, though, is that while I appreciate Chris's comment that we see this happen in storytelling all the time, what happens in storytelling and what happens at the table with players is a very different thing, because when your character gets screwed over, that's much more personal than when Luke Skywalker gets screwed over by somebody or when Han Solo gets screwed over by Lando. I mean, he builds Lando's trust back up again. Players might not come to that. So it's got to be done very, very carefully, because I'll be honest, once a character screws me over, I never trust him again.
And that's because that's you. There's ways to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about justification.
Well, and there's there's ways
part of it.
There's ways to apologize as an NPC. Like, there are ways to rebuild trust. But to Jerry's point, if a character has screwed me over and that's never happened before, even if they rebuild their trust, I will now always consider that there is a percentage of this character that may screw me over at some point. It may be a small percentage, but it'll never not be out of my head ever again.
I have to actually backtrack on what I just said, because I just thought of an NPC that has betrayed us in a way. Beta. Beta was our nemesis for the first good chunk of your Ox campaign. And when they came on board, we didn't trust them because they basically spent a lot of time undoing stuff and stealing stuff and interfering with our plans. And now they're part of the team. So I will say there is a way to build that back. Chris is 100% right. There is a way to build that back. We applaud Chris. Good job.
Because while we state best practices on this show, they're just best practices. There's always a way to do the thing that you think you shouldn't do.
Mm-hmm. Well, there always is.
There's a reason why encumbrance is a good mechanic in certain situations. There's a reason why you can have a GMPC in certain situations.
Absolutely. You can do it. And I think you can do it on two levels. One of the things that helped was we did have a meta discussion about beta turning around.
Yep.
Which helps the player side of the equation.
Yeah.
Right. And then we justified it by in story having beta do some trustworthy shit. It would have been harder for me to push that through if all we did was me trying to prove it to you only through the narrative.
Yeah.
Like, it was a helpful shortcut to be like, hey, as a group, are we putting beta in jail? Or do you want beta to make like a heel face turn? And when you guys were like heel face turn, I was like, cool, we can definitely do that. Now let's do it in story.
And part of that is we trust you. You've established a lot of trust with us as players, as your GM, just as we trust Chris when Chris runs his game as well. We have a lot of trust in the GM. That goes a long way. At the same time, I will say, like, if you do screw over a player and it doesn't bounce back, as a GM, don't be surprised. It doesn't always happen.
If you screw over a character.
Yes, thank you.
That reveals the bleediness of what you're talking about.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
The reason that we trust Phil, aside from him building up trust with us, is because he told us he wasn't going to do it. When you stop and talk about that situation, that is the primary, probably the best way to get that story beat in there, that storyline in there. There are other ways to do it, but they're a lot harder.
Yeah, if I wanted to thematically in Ox have you constantly worry about where beta stood, we would not have had that discussion.
No.
Like, I would have had beta like make amends and do all this stuff in story. But somewhere in your heads, you would always be like, should we leave him on the ship alone? Like, is that a good idea?
Yeah.
But by having the discussion at the meta level and saying, hey, I'm taking this off the table. We're going to all make a decision now. And this is where we're going in the story. It lets you guys relax on it and lets us just actually play through and like, cool, now let's make the story justify the behavior.
Yeah.
Or the target behavior.
It is the primary path to victory, but there are multiple paths to victory in that situation.
Oh, absolutely.
As a result of the way Phil has been playing Ms. Cortez, the players now look forward to her appearances because it normally signifies something magical, in other words, fun, or it answers or at least gives direction for the crisis that we're currently in. Even though her role as a teacher and adult would normally be a foil to the characters, she ends up being a welcome inclusion whenever she appears.
I'm like tweaking every time somebody says fun. At least we're doing a fairly decent job of defining fun in these conversations.
She's like Dungeon Master.
She is like a Dungeon Master.
Like, just turn around, like, oh, Dungeon Master.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. That's from the original 80s cartoon.
Yeah.
For our youngin' listeners.
By the way, they show up in the movie.
That's good. I saw that clip.
No, never mind.
Never mind.
Listen to Thago with Advantage. You get a cool couple tidbits of information from Jared there.
There you go. Okay. At the same time, Lisa, Silas's rival,
Yay.
academic rival,
Yay.
plays a similar role. Whenever Lisa appears, it tends to signify some sort of non-critical confrontation is about to occur. I would even go as far to say that when Lisa shows up, it enforces that we are in a high school motif.
Yeah.
We are in the non-magical high school part of the game. from taunting to trash talking to actual contests of skill and knowledge. A scene with Lisa is always going to be dynamic and
fun.
But here's the thing. Lisa represents the actual opposition of high school life. Lisa is Silas's rival.
Yeah.
In a fun way, but also in a like, Lisa will grind him into dust academically if she gets the chance.
She keeps trying.
Right.
The last time we had an encounter, I didn't care because I'm busy.
Yeah, well, so that's a thing that is even more frustrating to Lisa because Lisa is fully invested in one world. You are not. And so for her, like the beginning of story 2, getting ready for the Lockwood Academy, like she's like Patton, right? Like walking across the stage back and forth, talking about this is war, we're going to battle, like, because for Lisa, that's Lisa's life.
It is, because that should be life for a high schooler.
Yeah,
right?
Lisa's going to have like a breakdown somewhere in college.
My favorite part of that scene is when Mia and Gunny like turn to each other and like, is this really war? We start talking about like battle. Like, I don't think we're really fighting.
What's it good for?
Well, and again,
absolutely nothing.
Lisa can only see one world. So to her, this Lockwood Academy thing is like, this is the Super Bowl. This is Easter. This is, all of those things. And for Easter is the Catholic Super Bowl. You looked at me for a second, like, how did those two line up? But that's what it is.
A lot of blood on the field.
Well, I'm just saying, like, look, you gotta, if you do
both
it.
situations. I'm sorry, Catholics out there. Blood on the field is Good Friday. Easter is resurrection. I'm so sorry.
There's eggs in both examples.
There you go. Anyway, Lisa just, again, represents this really intense version of high school because that's who she is. And it's good because Silas runs in that circle and occasionally needs to be, brush up against it.
It strangely was the most important thing to me for a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
In addition, even though Lisa is Silas's intellectual rival, she has a different relationship with Gunny. Tying her to two different PCs in two different ways means that when she appears, there's going to be some more, here's the F word again, fun drama.
My lord.
Who wrote this episode? Jerry
It's
did.
fine.
Jerry wrote the word fun in
Look,
here.
every one of these paragraphs implicates what fun means.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
That's exactly why I
I'm
did
not
that.
mad about it.
Folks, for those who might be new to listening, Chris has a thing about the word fun.
Stop saying fun. It's subjective.
You have to qualify. You can say fun, but
Yes.
you have to attach your qualifiers to it. That is a Chris pet peeve.
I'm pretty sure in every set paragraph I use
think you've been
fun, I
doing a
kind of
good job of
describe
it.
what I meant by it.
I have said repeatedly, like, you're defining what fun is. It just grates on me because all I can hear is this game is fun. What makes it fun? It's just fun. I'm like, that doesn't mean anything.
Sure.
Okay, that's
I'm
bad.
I'm good.
Yes.
Herpes is fun. Is it?
Well, getting
For
herpes,
somebody.
You keep using that
herpes
word.
can be fun.
Maybe.
I do not think it means what you think it means.
This is fun for somebody, not me.
Yeah, look, there's no stream here. Nobody can see that hand gesture.
I know.
Hans, put the gun away. This is radio.
That
What, am I
was
a
your
method
urethra
actor?
sounding
Yes, thank
gesture
you,
that
thank
Chris
you.
made.
The
And
what?
if you're not sure what that is, maybe look it up, maybe don't.
All right. Well, it is important to note that in both of these cases, the NPCs are the catalyst for some sort of interaction in a scene, but they're not actually the focus, or rarely are the focus of the scene. Once they have served their introduction, Phil often lets the players drive the actual encounter. In fact, most of the time, it lets the players drive the actual encounter, unless it's Silas's dad. Then Silas's dad is expositioning to us because we need to know shit. Also, people listening need to know shit too. Allowing the NPCs to fade in and out of the action is needed without overshadowing the heroes. Even in the test where Lisa defeats Silas, once the scene was over, Lisa dropped out of the game. Like, it's not her story, it's our story. Silas's loss was referenced later, but only became a focus when the player, in this case me, wanted to bring it back.
It actually would have been a bigger problem if you had won that contest, that first in story 1.
Sure.
Because you would have been handling the angel problem, but also having to get back to the extra credit lab after school.
Yuppers.
Also remember that NPCs don't need to be fully fleshed out when they first appear. Just a short description, a few character traits, maybe something memorable enough for the first encounter. As the characters interact with them, more can be developed and backstories can be explored. And to be honest, most of the NPCs we've encountered, including our family and close friends, have only been given some very basic descriptors. Most of the characterizations we see are coming out in the game, and that makes them more interesting to us.
I think it does a couple things. So from a prep side, it's just easier, right? Not to have to work up full backstories for characters that you don't need them to. Number 2, I can't anticipate which NPCs you will and won't like. So there's no point in investing prep-wise heavily into an NPC that you may just discard like offhand.
That's a big thing, is that as a GM, you almost never can tell which NPCs the players will like or dislike. Players can always surprise you, and sometimes you just have to roll with it.
I go with an NPC gets more screen time, the more you like the NPC.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wait to see what happens with that. The other thing is, by not having backgrounds, I can later in the story hook them into stuff.
Yes.
As things unfold in the game, I can be like, oh, you know what? This character has a vested interest in that. I'm going to add a little chunk to their background that now ties them to this, thing that's going on in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to talk about Jason Cordova's public access now.
Sure.
So all of the mysteries, because the mysteries are, if you're not aware of what public access is, it's a creepypasta horror game set in 2004 about nostalgia. And the mysteries all have sheets that are associated with it. They're 2 pages long. They have a bunch of clues and stuff on there and whatnot, but there's often NPCs on there that are sort of defined, but not really. So you can use them in a bunch of different ways, which is another great example of how to do the thing that Phil is talking about. Like, I have this thing, it's not super well defined, but I can utilize it.
Yeah, I personally, you guys see it. It's in my GM kit. I think it's on the table with me at almost every game. Are those
short order heroes?
Short order heroes, which unfortunately, I don't know if you can even get them anymore. It's just a list of personality traits, and they often have they have funny little pictures that go with them. Mm-hmm. But I use those. If you guys start talking about an NPC, like this happens a lot in Night's Black Agents, you'll make a contact. I'll just grab 3 cards and look to see if any of those traits look interesting to me. And sometimes I'll incorporate 1, 2, or 3. I'll discard and pick up another set. But the idea is that it just off the top of your head gives you something quick to make them notable. If they take, you'll see more of them. Like, for instance, your date, Kaylee, threw out there, if it had been a disaster or you had rebelled against it, would have never heard her name again. Now, probably got to go make up some stuff about her.
Mm-hmm.
She has to come back now.
She does have to come back.
It's a moral imperative.
Short order heroes are available on Drive-Thru RPG. They've got a bunch of different decks and they've got a bunch that are themed for events, fantasy, genre, horror, motives, pulp, relationships, and sci-fi.
Drive-through cards?
Drive-through cards, yep.
Oh, thank goodness.
It's like just taking away sales from Masks 1001 NPCs.
Nothing will ever take away sales of Masks.
No, I use both.
Yeah.
You could go
book
buy
is
those.
evergreen.
You could go buy those, folks, by the way. They're great books.
Yes.
Where can you find them? On Drive-Thru?
Oh, well, of course. Always on Drive-Thru.
Yeah. Drive-Thru RPG, where you can get Masks, 1001 NPCs, and Eureka, 501 plots for your role-playing games.
I'm going to buy like all of these.
Yeah, me too.
Obviously, as the GM, I have more backgrounds and stories for some of the NPCs, but a lot of their personalities came from the player notes about the characters and their relationships. Others were just a name that got developed right at the table. For example, T's mom had a name, and we knew he had twin older siblings and a younger sister, but that and his family's position in the Vale were all we had. Most of the breakfast scene was ad-libbed. Actually, the thing I really wanted to do was 2 things. I wanted it to make it sound like even though you're a punk, you actually have a pretty loving family.
Yep.
And 2, that just because you guys are magical, it's pretty normal.
Mm-hmm.
Contrasted to Silas's house, where we actually, in the opening story, we don't see Silas's dad right away. We just overhear a fragment of a very uncomfortable conversation.
Sucks.
And then his dad leaves.
Mm-hmm.
It sets a very different tone in the game. And that's why when he shows up at the end, it's like, oh shit, why is my dad here?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then he's like, I got to go talk to this kid.
Going along with this breakfast thing, I came up with the names and personalities of the twins on the fly. I think we all helped each other, really. I Amethyst and Geode.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started playing Amethyst without any prep. Just like, because I was like, I'm the annoying older sister, and you're just a punk, and you're not very useful to the family. You're just kind of bad.
And as a player, I just kind of yes-anded the whole thing. Like, as soon as Chris came up with something, don't get in another player's way unless there's some really strong reason to do it. Let the other characters develop these NPCs for you, because it becomes a lot more fun to interact with them.
The only 2 that I had a grasp on as we entered that scene was that your dad was, making breakfast, which is one kind of a symbol of like where he sits in the family. He's very connected to the family. He's cooking. He's making breakfast for everybody before they go to school. And then to make your mom, the mom who's like, oh, I got to find you a good girl, a good magical girl. And that's like a little stereotypical,
I feel
but
like
it was
she's
like
playing
fun.
Matriarch.
Yeah.
What's that?
I feel like she's playing the matriarch.
Yeah, and it like
very
was
much so.
Yeah, and it was kind of fun, kind of fun to do that, she's sitting at the table, snake hair and all, like, you got to find yourself a nice magical girl, like settle down, that kind of thing.
I do have to say, it is important to make sure that when you start playing NPCs in the game, that is okay with the game master and the person who's connected to those NPCs most strongly, that it's okay with them.
And we have a boatload of safety tools on the table, including we have script change for rewind and editing. So like if it wasn't okay, there's tools for somebody to be like, oh, pause. I kind of always thought my sister was more like this, rewind and like, and then go again kind of thing.
As a matter of fact, I think when Chris did it, I think he jumped in as the character, stopped for a second. I remember you giving a slight pause and then went on with it because we all like looked at him and smiled like this, go, 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 that kind of thing, which was Chris, asked for permission before he kept going. It was a good thing. Well, lastly, not all of the NPCs the party wants to interact with over and over again have to be in the forefront. Sometimes it's going to be a bit character created on the fly when the GM needs someone for a scene. For example, Archie Blake, who interacted with Gunny, came from a botch on Gunny's test, but quickly became important for a few scenes and even helped give Gunny some direction. I expect we'll see more of him in the future, because he just got created on the fly. But any bit character can be given a few traits and personality once the players become interested in talking to him.
You know what's interesting about that is that Archie Blake isn't part of the Shroud, that isn't part of the Guardians.
Yeah, he's probably somewhere in there.
He's not. He wasn't in that list.
He wasn't in the. So he wasn't in the list that the players made. But I kind of need to pull him in again now for continuity purposes.
Unless he's not a member of the Guardians, because not all of us have magic.
No, but he had magic because he could see.
No, I meant like all of us have like martial magic.
Oh, yeah, no, I'll probably put him in.
Oh, okay.
I'll just, he had some other reason. He had another after school activity or something. I don't know.
I'm assuming because he was the one that talked to Miss Cortez that she had him off doing something else as well.
Sure.
Yeah, it's probably possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, he may be a little older and has more responsibility or who knows.
I don't know. He'll come back.
I do want to bring up one more point is that NPC groupings, like how do you introduce a whole bunch of NPCs all at once? Because Phil introduced a good half dozen more NPCs at the same time. And I can't remember who all of them are, but I do remember who some of them are. And that's probably on purpose because then we can cycle back around to touching on those other NPCs later when they become important. But what were you thinking when you did that out of curiosity?
When I'm doing prep work and I'm kind of working through how I think a scene's going to go, I draw heavily on TV, comic books, things like that. So I'm picturing what does it look like when Kitty Pryde first meets the X-Men, like sees them in the danger room. Each one of them is kind of doing the thing they're known for doing. We see the one kid eating because his magic is about consumption. We have a couple people paired off practicing. So I see it in my head as like a montage because what I want to do is I want to give you like a very high level, like here's what they're doing, and then wait for you to like ask questions. Like if you're like, well, why is that kid eating rocks? And I'd be like, cool, go over and talk to him. Right. But if you're just like, no, this kid eating rocks, like, then he might be important later. Like, I don't worry about him so much.
What I think is interesting is that you gave each of them a distinction. Like, I don't remember everybody's names. I know Dee was the bubbly one with healing. Donatella, I don't remember their powers, but I know that they have.
She's a princess.
She's a princess. Ash has the scythe and is very punk. But I also know that there's the rock eater. There's the person, I don't know their name, but I remember they have the only really cool beard in school.
Yes.
He wields 2 daggers. I only know this because I regrouped all the NPCs.
And there's the one person who is absolutely middle of the road. What's extraordinary about them is that nothing's extraordinary. But as a result, later on, even if we don't remember all the names, we can talk about, the beard guy or whatever, and they'll stick in your head. And the more we interact with them, they'll grow more. But until then, we've got these little traits that instantly jump to mind when they talk. And if Phil comes up and says, it's, I don't remember the beard guy's name, so-and-so, the guy with the really awesome beard, we all of a sudden get a whole bunch of other things jumping in our minds. So giving them a particular trait right off the bat, just snap with me.
So I can take no credit for those NPCs, right? Those were created by the Slack room. But what I asked them when I gave them a little text block. So I asked them, what do they look like? What kind of magic do they have? Give me a couple personality tags. I can't remember if it was something notable or whatever. It might have just been the description, but that's what they packed into those things. And some of those are very Senda, and I'll specifically call it Senda and Andy because they're really good at picking these like weird little traits. Has the best beard in the school. Like that's just like, it's a weird one. But when you think about it back at that age, like, no, it's a big there was deal. Somebody in your school who could really grow a beard. Like when everybody else is like patchy or I was like total baby face kind of thing. There's like somebody who's got like a beard and you remember that.
I'm going to aside us now because you mentioned the X-Men and Kitty Pryde, but I'm going to talk about that X-Men cartoon from the 90s.
Which one? The original Fox one or the Generations
The
one?
original Fox
Okay,
one.
sure.
So the first 2 episodes are Night of the Sentinels. And it starts with Jubilee. And it's Jubilee getting introduced to all the X-Men characters. That animation is so bad.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
God.
it's painful.
Did they fix the color changes that they had when they first released it?
I guess. I couldn't remember between now and 30, what was it, 20 years ago?
You notice that there's a
ago?
couple scenes where people change from being African American to not African American in the same scene.
I mean, there's a bunch of editing mishaps in there.
Yeah.
Like, they're bad. But it does introduce all the characters.
Yes, it does.
The comic books always have this issue, right? Like, especially if you're using non-established characters, you very quickly need to establish kind of a little bit of personality and their power.
It's a bad cartoon, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Season 2 is much better.
Except that the theme song
It's great.
might be one of the greatest theme songs.
That theme song slaps, yo.
Yeah, it does.
Right? You can just hear it. And I guess they're on track for X-Men 97. There's
They
going
are.
to be
That'd be interesting.
I'm looking for it. That's why I'm watching it.
I'll have
Yeah.
to go back and watch it because
I tried watching it and then I was like,
I
was with Chris.
Season 2 is better than Season 1 animation.
when I was watching it, I stopped watching it after like episode 3 or 4 when I saw like all the villains walking through downtown wherever wearing their costumes. It's like, oh look, it's Pyro wearing his Pyro outfit, going to
it's
get
for
some breakfast.
kids, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's Gambit's wearing his costume the entire time. Anyways, my point of that, I mean, aside from bringing up terrible animation and how bad it is, was they actually do a not halfway bad job of like introducing each of those characters. Now, it's a visual medium, right?
Yeah.
So in the role-playing medium, we have the things like has the best beard ever as a visual description for us to like latch onto, or is completely plain and does nothing, or is super bubbly and then Phil plays up the super bubbly part, or Princess is up on me and tells me I'm a terrible person because I drove her friend away.
Yeah.
Because that happened.
Yeah.
So I'll go back to Amber Diceless. I'll ask Bob a question. This is my own personal jamming style, but I have a particular way that I like to start Amber campaigns because for the same reason, you kind of need to meet all the family and all the family needs to meet your character. We played several campaigns. What's my typical opening?
And you've done this in other games besides Amber.
Yeah.
A party.
Yes.
Oh, party. Nice.
You always started the campaign with a party and you walk around and you meet people. Imagine that.
Yeah, so great way to introduce a group of people is the way that you did it. Another trick that I've used, which if you have these things and you're playing in person or even online, it's hard to introduce a bunch of NPCs all at once if you're just like rattling off a bunch of names and things like that.
Correct.
So what I did was, and I've talked about this on the show before, is I had pictures of people that I taped to index cards that were folded up and then covered them with other index cards to hide their names. So I let the people go and talk to them. And then I could do the thing that Phil was doing with these introduction of these characters instead of like looking around a room and seeing everybody. When you walk up to somebody and talk to them, when you introduce yourself and they introduce themselves, I take the name, the cover off the name tag. So then you have that interaction. I think that's a great way to do large groups of people and especially like parlor mysteries with a number of NPCs that you need to introduce right away.
I'm going to note two so I don't forget them. One, I want to talk about Amber, and one I want to talk about Long Live the Queen. But along the same line, for Amber, I was very fortunate that way back in the day in the 90s, one of the players in my original Amber game was an artist. And for those who've read the Amber books, there are these cards called the trumps that are each family member, and you use them to psychically contact family members. And so each one is like a tarot, and it has the character drawn on it. And the drawing of the character is pretty characteristic of who they are. Mm-hmm. So I was very fortunate that my player, between campaigns one year, because I played in the summers, he drew the entire set of trumps, illustrated all of them. We then color printed them. This is like 1992. We color printed full sets, laminated them. So when we played, I could hold up a card and be like, this is Kane. And you would see like his green colors, his pirate looking outfit. This is Blaze. And sometimes I would have props for them. Like Blaze always had a wine glass in hand because he drank a lot, that kind of thing. But those, going back to the same thing you were saying, like having that visual connection, having a prop that connects you to a particular NPC, exceedingly good. In my Long Live the Queen game, we have a whole bunch of NPCs in the game. and I have a page called the Lookbook, which I go into Google Images and I grab pictures of either random people, models, or actresses, actors, or whatever, and assign them, like name them as the NPC. And then when Senda and I are playing, I will share screen and pop up the lookbook and be like, oh, let's remember this is this NPC, this is this NPC, that kind of thing. And it just helps to like reinforce, each of the NPCs.
All of these things are excellent methods with which to introduce, reinforce, and remember NPCs.
Yeah, because I think it's nice having a large amount of NPCs for the players, having a way to index and reference them. I know in our Forgotten Realms campaign, we had a spreadsheet of all the NPCs and kind of a quick description of when we met them. So like, oh, that farmer that lived outside that town, like, when you guys went to bring the barrels of ale to the, lands in the Far East or something, like that guy's name is in there so that and especially in a game like Forbidden Lands where you might pass by that way again, you might be like, oh yeah, who is that guy? Like quick check the spreadsheet. Oh yeah.
The couple of ways that I've seen that are great for indexing that is we have our own method around at least my games, what's called the campaign tracker. It's got a list of all the NPCs with like their name is bolded in bullet points and there's like a line or two about them like right next to it. And they're rolling the story up to that point. The character keepers from a lot of Gauntlet games have usually a spot in them that tracks any NPCs that you have met. You can list them yourselves. Like I know Public Access has one.
Like I've been filling it in while we've been playing.
It's important to keep that because it's not my job to.
Well, and especially because we're playing things with mysteries. Like things with mysteries need better information management.
And that's our recap of recurring NPCs and NPC groups and RPGs, specifically our Children of the Shroud campaign, plus some techniques that we hope that you'll find useful to utilize out there. Let us know if you have any other thoughts about NPCs and how you might use them in your games. The best place to do that is definitely our Slack group, which you can get to through our Patreon. If not there, Twitter, Dice Camp, all those places are great places to reach us. Bob, would you tell us about another show on the Misdirected Mark Network now?
I would love to. Let's talk about the Gnomecast. Several gnomes from Gnome Stew get together to talk about gaming topics and themselves in an effort to entertain you and to avoid being thrown in the stew.
Very cool. Why don't we do some Patreon shoutouts now, bud?
We probably should do some Patreon shoutouts. Very, very big thanks to Chris Constantine, Mirko Froelich, Eric Simon, Kathleen Halperin, Christopher Gmelch, Michael Beck Esperum, Joseph Knoll, Carlos, Heptalema, and Michael Draper.
And once again, a big thanks to our newest patron, Huxley. Thank you so much.
And thanks to everybody for listening to this.
If you like the show, you can hear more just like it at misdirectedmark.com. If that's not enough, you filthy podcast listen. Sorry. You know who you are. Keep listening.
Check out our Patreon page.
Yeah. Go check out our Patreon page. I dare you at patreon.com/MMP because you want to check it out. And there are hundreds of bonus episodes available for your greedy ears to listen to.
Last time I looked and posted a thing, there was at least 284 MP3s, and I know there's more than that.
That is whole bunches. Aside from those bonus episodes, the after show and the Bamboo Lounge, you also get our MM Plays game stuff like Phil's nifty setting document for the Children of the Shroud, our characters from that game, the mods we're using, and Phil's Session Zero worksheet. Beyond that, there's Chris's game development notes on the Lamplighter system, which is going to power the Streets of Avalon RPG.
I'm cracking the magic stuff right now. It's hard.
There you go. And most importantly, access to our Slack channel, which is the very best way to talk to us.
Yeah, and if the Slack channel isn't your thing, you can still hit us up on email at mmp@misdirectedmark.com or check us out on Twitter. At misdirectedmark is the best place if you want to get a response.
Yeah, that's. I will respond to you probably.
So where do I find the rest of you guys on social media?
I'm at the Light 101 on Twitter. That's pretty much it at the moment. Like other than at Misdirected Mark on Twitter, I'm not very much on the social medias.
I'm at GM Gerrymander on Twitter and at Dice Camp.
I'm at Robert M. Everson on Twitter, and someday in the not too distant future, hopefully Dice Camp if I remember to do it.
I have a Dice Camp account, but I don't really know how to use it. Somebody's got to show me.
It's Twitter-like.
It's Twitter-like, but I don't I can't figure out how to get inside of like following people and like the groupings and things like that.
I'll see what I can do to help
It
you.
needs a little help.
What about you, Phil?
I'm DNA Phil pretty much everywhere. You can find me on Dice Camp. You can find me on Twitter. You can even find me on TikTok as DNA Phil.
Yeah. Last, we have a bunch of other shows on Misdirected Mark Productions. The roster includes Pandas Talking Games. We have a panda here in the house. We have the Gnome Cast, which some of us are gnomes. There's Bonus Experience, which is hilarious. And Thaka with Advantage, which just covered the D&D movie. If that still isn't enough, we have a bunch of friends who create content too. There's the Tabletop Bellhop, your cardboard concierge, the Knights of the Night with their excellent APs, Mastering Dungeons, which is all about 5th edition D&D, and How to RPG, hosted by Sean P. Kelly of Gaming MBS. You can catch him live on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern on the YouTubes.
This has been a Misdirected Mark production, the media arm of Encore Designs. Mic drop.
We out.